Oh, that's exciting.
Good evening. Welcome to the Comprehensive Plan Committee meeting. It is August 2nd of 2023. I would just like to note that we do have a quorum present. First order of business would be to approve the previous meetings from our July 19th meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second. And all in favor?
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. Did you catch that, Sue? Okay. Old business, so I'm gonna turn things right over to North Star Planning to check in on our survey progress.
Yeah, so as of right now, we have had 129 responses to the survey, which is better than we had before. So we're slowly climbing, but yeah, I wanted to just check in with the committee about if people have had a chance to post this on different community Facebook groups, if people have used the flyers, business cards, kind of how that's been going and where we have been advertising it, so we can try and brainstorm about where else we can try.
I've put the flyers up at a few different places. Off the top of my head, right outside of the post office today. I've given it to the Beacon, the library, Good Life Market. I've handed out cards at Crescent Beach to whoever happens to be there. I've shared it on Facebook again. And I believe Joe Crocker with Rec shared it.
They shared it.
Anybody else have any?
I intended to tonight push out the survey link again to our membership about Drive With Your Association. Failed to do that because I was reading the new chapters. I don't know if that's valid, but I still have it on my list.
I think with some continued outreach, we can improve upon that. I think I would also like to reach out maybe to the library and find out if they are willing to send the survey out on their listservs, unless that's something that's already.
I think they've already done that. I'm not sure. Or they said they would, but
Maybe
possibly
they have they also have like a monthly. They have a monthly reach out, monthly newsletter. Maybe I get those, but I haven't noticed that the survey's on there. So maybe we can. I'll look through my past ones maybe and ask that it be, if it's possible, that they could include that.
Yeah, I think if we could gently nudge them to post on their Facebook. I didn't see it, but maybe they did, and in the newsletter, that would be great. And I think my only other request would be, I know we had talked about some other community Facebook groups, like the Sebago people who own boats or whatever it's called. And like there was a few other groups we talked about last time, that, you know, they won't be exclusive to Raymond, but that's okay, and that might have some reach. So
I think, I mean, it hasn't been that long since we last met.
Yep.
And I think we can continue to outreach. I haven't checked any road runners. I don't know when the last one came out.
it would have been about 2 weeks ago.
And I didn't
I think
look.
it was already set when we had our last meeting. And I've asked Melissa to put it in the next one, but that
Okay,
won't come
so-
out for another 3 weeks.
Okay, so then in another 3 weeks,
Yeah.
we'll have another, you know, hopefully another push on that.
Yeah, and
So I
if
think
it-
some of it's just gonna take time, but
Totally.
I will continue to, and I'm sure any other members will continue to try and push it.
Yeah, if anyone wants to kind of take on seeing if there's any regional Facebook community groups that you can post it in, that would be super helpful. I know some of those non-official Facebook pages get a lot of traction.
What about channels like Raymond Rec and the lake associations? Maybe we already talked about that. But
Yeah, so Raymond Rec, I did see that it was on, that a Facebook post went out.
okay.
But maybe, does he do a separate, like, email list?
He does, and he said he was going to send it out, whether he's gotten to that or yet or not, I'm not sure, but I can
Okay.
ask.
Okay.
I think,
So
go ahead.
No, so I was thinking maybe we just circle back with everybody and say, have you
Yeah.
done this, and this? And if you haven't, do you think you could please, get that out for us? Or what can we do to help you get that out?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
I think once school starts again as well, we'll have a different group of networks that we can poke, and we'll be seeing different people, and more folks will be gathering. So I think we can
Yeah.
also tap into some of that at that point.
Yep. The PTO would be active again, so there'd be little events with that. Yeah. Sometimes the school even does a like a welcome day. I know they're doing like popsicles.
Popsicles with the
Peavy.
principal.
Yeah. So I don't know if that. Sometimes in the past they've had sometime during the first couple of weeks of school where like the PTO has been allowed to like set up a little table and say this is who we are. Maybe they would allow for something like that for us to do.
It's a good idea. That's at the end of August, so if we're going to do that, we need to.
I know the popsicles with Miss Peavy
Yeah.
is, but I think that's a little more informal.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever been, but the kids just run around the playground with popsicles.
Right.
That's about it.
I haven't been at the Raymond one, but is there a line where the parents can pick up their pickup cards, placards?
Those are sent
Okay.
in the
All right.
mail.
Okay.
But I think, if we continue to brainstorm and reach out, we can hopefully improve upon this.
Sounds great.
I know sometimes collecting surveys is very difficult.
Yeah, and I get the feeling sometimes do that in the summer. People are just less tuned into all this stuff. So
Yep. Is there I think we have talked about this, but I guess you're going to have to tell me again. Timeline-wise, we would want to have a robust survey response before a public event. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay.
that's the ideal. If we really have a hard time, we can start talking about maybe changing the things around a little bit, but what we had planned on was to try and get a couple hundred survey responses before that public meeting. So then we can start with that public meeting asking some more kind of targeted topic-based questions.
Okay.
What is the threshold for robust? How many responses are we looking for?
I usually like to ballpark like 10% of your population, so that would be 400 something. But a few hundred I would be good too.
We're a quarter of the way there. I think we
Yeah.
can do this. Okay.
Well, I know the word is getting out somewhat. I had a gentleman come in the town office today that I'd never seen before, so I'm assuming he's from away. And he said, "Can anyone answer this survey that's going around?" Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. And off he went.
So it is
Yeah.
it is happening. Okay.
So
Yeah.
there, at least one person saw something. But generally, if you see one, there's 50 more out there like them, so.
Yeah, that's great. I think, it's also just it's good if we start feeling like people are like, oh, there's this comp plan going on. Huh, interesting. Just kind of having people see it around.
The tax bill's out. We weren't going to be able to do that with some simple stuff the envelope with a little piece of paper.
It's
A challenge.
It's possible, it's not optimal because
Timing's not good. I mean, it would be the
Well-
October bill, right?
it'll be going out in September.
Going out in September, and if we all came up and stuffed a little survey link,
Tiny.
Yeah.
tiny
If we
little
did-
one
if we-
piece of
If we
paper.
did the business card possibly.
business card.
And put that in, that might.
That would
be
increase
better.
your postage, right? It would be small enough to not
Yeah, it
increase your
would,
postage.
that shouldn't
We
affect
wouldn't
the
tip the
postage.
scales.
And one of the difficulties, though, is a lot of people don't open their tax bills.
Myself included.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Because-
pay them online.
Because their banks pay. with escrow accounts. So a lot of folks fall into that category. There is another whole category that doesn't open their bills and doesn't bother with them until they get the 30-day notices by certified mail, which isn't my best way of getting reminded by things because there's fees at that point. But even having something small in there, they don't read the verbiage on the tax bill, so I'm not sure how much they would read that. So I'm not trying to discourage, but given the questions and things we get from tax bills, I'm not sure if that's the best vehicle.
Maybe we have another meeting before that would go out, right? No, September.
Yeah,
would
the
be
first week of
close.
October, you'll be meeting again.
Well, but
Mhm.
first week in September, right? So you said they go out in September.
The select board don't meet until, I think it's the 12th, and they'll be setting the mill rate.
So if
and
we're
then-
desperate,
If you're desperate, yes.
okay,
Oh, by
if
all
we still
means.
do not have any response and we're
Mhm.
desperate, could we maybe just leave that as a
Yeah, I
possibility?
think you could put that in, and maybe they would notice it if they open it and it falls out on them.
I
We get
like
a
the
steady
idea
stream
of
questions
the card
of
in there.
things
I was
that
going
are
to ask
actually
if
on there.
we could print it on the backside of a tax bill, but I think the card is better than that. I really like that idea because we have plenty of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's something small that's going to catch their attention because it is going to fall out
And
on
it's
them.
colorful. If they're going to see anything out of the tax bill, I think that's what they'd see.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we can maybe
Mhm.
check that when we check back next month to see how we're
Yeah.
doing.
Versus the mailer.
Mhm.
I just have memories of stuffing envelopes for Raymond Waterways and
Mhm.
having 10 people stuffing envelopes for 2 hours. You've got it. You get the town done.
Mhm.
And this would be a postcard, though. I think maybe. I mean, it's kind of sidestepping the tax bill idea
Mhm.
with your issues, with your good points. Separate postcard, which should probably also end up in the wood stove that time of year, or but it
And
would
postage for postcards has gone up to, I think it's 51 cents.
50 cents
Mhm.
to 2,000 properties.
Well, there's
A lot.
almost 4,000.
I was going to say
tax
there's
bills.
4,000 tax
Yeah.
bills.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess we'll stay with the electronic version.
I think once it's in the Roadrunner, that
Yeah.
may help quite a bit,
Yes.
though. And we're going to put the
Mhm.
QR code on there, right? So
Yes.
they are, while they're
Mhm.
flipping through their paper, they can just, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if we can just keep posting it on various community Facebook pages, it doesn't matter if everybody's a Raymond resident, any of those kind of Sebago Lake, other lake related pages, yeah, anything like that.
Okay. I think the next big thing that we need to discuss tonight is kind of the time frame for our public workshop and what are our thoughts around that. I personally still see a lot of pros and cons to either one. Timing wise, either way, I think it's just, there's going to be inconveniences. You're going to find reasons for it to be inconvenient. Because if we do it early, 2024, yes, people may be more available, but we're going to be planning that during our busiest times. So I don't know. I think we should discuss that. If anybody has thoughts on the matter.
It seems like later is better to me. Crunch.
Mhm.
Well, if we're into the fall or even after the holidays, we're letting go of the summer folk to participate in that. And the thinking is we'd have maybe a second one. Is that right? Possibly next summer, 24.
Yeah, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but this is not the only public event.
But this would be the early one when the seeds would be sown, certainly.
But I think a lot of the summer people would be gone by November
Yeah, or
anyways.
end of September.
We
even.
lose a big chunk right before school starts.
Yeah.
Then we lose even more once cold weather starts
Once the leaves drop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So October-ish, then we've lost a lot. So even if we're talking about, I mean, either date, you're right, we will lose summer folk
And
participation.
a snowy night in January would probably be the thinnest crop that we'd be able to harvest of participants.
Like-
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, I don't know if Raymond has experience with having events or different things at different times of year, but it really depends. I mean, I remember we had that one event on a day in January this year that was like between two snowstorms, and we got like a decent turnout, like 50 something people, which was more than I expected on a snowy night in January.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if there's any like sort of town events or anything to go on.
Well, I say, I think doing it in early 2024 is just my opinion personally, I guess. If I'm to really think about it, it gives us a little bit more time to prepare, to have more to offer. And I think we can also be brainstorming about other ways to do outreach. I saw that South Portland is redoing their plan, and they're having like a day. I think it's 3 sessions in one day. So 3 different times, and I think it's virtual or in person. I can't remember. I'd have to look back on the email. But I mean, there's other ways that we can try to provide the public outreach.
Yeah, I think you know, this is not something like that was part of our original scope, but thinking about going back to school and different ways to spread this, you know, we can also like kind of give you all some ideas for getting students involved, whether it's like some, you know, like activities for younger kids, or we've done like sort of a abbreviated version of a survey for like high school kids, and that really needs to be coordinated by someone who has local access to schools and everything you need to do to work with them. But that can also be a way to reach their parents if you send kids home with a survey or something. So just something, if we're going to be waiting until January to do the event, maybe we have a little more flexibility to think about what we're doing over the fall. And if some of you are involved with the schools, we could kind of talk about
What about
that.
the idea of doing something on a Saturday in January and have 2 sessions? Have an early afternoon session and an evening session. So you can give people an opportunity to be there, instead of just one
shot.
time.
Yep. That's a
Set
good
up
idea.
a couple of times on a Saturday and see if you get a better turnout.
This is a 2-hour meeting, not a 4-hour meeting.
Yeah, usually like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Usually what we do is we have a presentation in the beginning and then a bit of Q&A, and then kind of split people off into activities, which can either be kind of self-guided things or like table discussions. So maybe like 45 minutes of, you know, talking, Q&A, and then more independent.
If we're going to be doing all that, I definitely like the idea of early January. I don't want to rush the presentation and the activities and the opportunity that we have. I'd rather be more prepared. And I think that will be the exact right time. And we'll still probably get a solid turnout as well.
Maybe it'd also give us an opportunity to entice them with small treats or hot cocoa or
Baked goods.
you know, I mean, something to offer, like
Yeah.
come here, have a discussion with us. There'll be hot chocolate and
Leftover Christmas cookies.
Definitely
leftovers.
food.
Yeah.
We should always, at all these meetings, we always make sure
Always
something's
there's okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Saturday during the day, we can have like coffee, hot chocolate,
Yeah.
you know.
Chili.
And I don't know who will be in charge of snacks, if it will be the town or the committee, but.
Okay. Well,
So
we can, but that gives us time to hash it out.
We've lost Zooms.
Uh-oh.
Not soon. So if it's a Saturday, it's
Bill, we've lost Zoom.
13 or 20 or 27. Not counting the 6th. I'm assuming we wouldn't do the first weekend after New Year's.
No, didn't
Thir-
we push it this past year too? We didn't have it right after New Year's, I don't think. I can't quite remember now.
The 13th is the holiday weekend, so I'd suggest doing it the next weekend.
20th,
Yeah.
January 20th, 2024. Concept date for,
And something else to start thinking about is what venue you'd be having this in. Also looking at Sue there.
That is a wonderful question.
Since we've lost Sean, should we pause just for a second?
We may want to pause for a moment. Bill's calling Eric to try and get Zoom back established.
Yeah, we're working on it.
I have Zoom, the Zoom meeting still going, so I can go back and forth with Sean, but he can't hear us.
All right.
And he can't see anyone here.
Okay, well, maybe we just take a couple minute break here for a second.
Are we still live on television?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
with ourselves.
Okay.
I'm just going to shut your audio off for a second.
Thank you.
Okay, you're all set.
Thank you. All right, Sean, you can hear us. Oh.
It looks like Sean, oh, now he's moving.
Sean, can you hear us?
Yeah, it looks like you're moving again.
All right.
All right, Sean, I'll give you the open floor here.
Oh, I missed a big chunk of the past couple of minutes. So could you just fill me in real quick what you're
Sure.
looking for?
So we did pause for a few minutes, but I believe we were talking about possibly doing, I don't know what you call it, I guess you can stop me if this is repeating, but 2 sessions on a Saturday, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours is a possibility. We'd be talking about venue. We also were talking about how food is a must when you do these things, so we'd have to decide who's going to coordinate that, whether it's the town or the committee. I think that was about it.
I would also suggest if we're going to pick a January date, we should also have a snow day or backup date.
Oh, like an automatically built-in, like,
Yeah,
You know, and
just,
the
you know, if
event
we
of-
pick it ahead of time, it definitely won't snow. And if we leave it to the last minute, it definitely will.
okay. So have a cancel date lined up. Okay.
I wonder if 2 dates,
The 27th.
just having 2 dates instead of the same day, have like the 20th and the 27th. I mean, that's 2 weekends for us committee folk, but that would open up, that would get us around, maybe get us around a snowstorm, and it would still open it up to two different time slots, 2 different dates that might get more people.
Yeah, and if we're only talking, 1.5, 2 hours with people, and you're here for a few minutes before, and after, and that's really not too much time, I suppose, if you think about it. So I'm definitely open to something like that.
Even the possibility that we could do 2 back-to-back dates, Saturday, Sunday, as opposed to 2 consecutive weekends. Just an option as well.
Yep.
Yeah, like maybe a Saturday morning, Sunday night kind of thing, or something like that. Might.
I was thinking 2 different weekends just in case folks had, we're gonna be gone for a
Oh, right.
weekend.
That's
Yeah.
We could get another. So, a couple options, we can soak on those, but
Yeah.
it sounds like having 2 was a good effort to get more participation. Whether it's the same day or this, different days on a weekend or different weekends.
Does it make sense just to do it at the middle school?
It would, however, that's not the town's building, and we do struggle getting time there. We can ask, and that's something I could put in the schedule or put in a request for. They have a whole system of requesting their rooms. There's also a decent-sized room at the fire department that could be used, and there's this room.
Do you think the library would be willing to host something like that?
They probably would, but I'm not sure
Big
how
enough?
much space they have.
in the public safety building, we had some pretty good-sized forums there.
Yeah, that's,
But if it was more than 50, it might start getting,
yeah, you wouldn't, the town doesn't have any very large meeting spaces
Would-
without using the
Would
school.
Camp Hines have anything that would be heated at that time of year?
I don't think that's heated. I think that's the issue with that, but I could ask Joe.
that'll keep
You
it
would
a
know.
brief meeting.
Just another thing to think about is recording capability. You know, we usually like to record these
That's
things.
called here.
So that's here, yeah. So, you know, we can always like set up a, you know, record it.
Do it, yeah.
We can do it, but it won't be as good as if the town does it in this facility. So, you know, I think there's a couple different ways you could do it. Like we've done events where we've had kind of a longer time slot and we've done the presentation twice, but then the rest of it is just kind of walk in, walk out, more casual. And then it's all made available online later. So if people miss it, they can.
Looking at this space, would it be appropriate? Would it have to be I mean, in your experience, would we have to do like a lot of rearranging or I mean, I don't know if we can even do that, but this isn't a very big space.
No.
Could
Yeah,
probably
you probably
figure it
would
out.
have to, yeah.
Yeah, I'd
rearrange some things.
rearrange a little bit, but you know, depending on what kind of, you know, there's not a lot of like wall space in here to like put up big maps and put things on, but we can bring easels, kind of depending on how many people you might get at a time and what kind of like activities you want to have. But we can think about that as we go. Just kind of planting all the seeds. So.
The fire station actually would be probably the bigger one of all of them. And they do have the wall space for putting things up.
Yeah. And Sean has his hand up too.
Sean, go ahead.
I like the idea of the fire station. Just kind of curious what happens if they have an actual emergency. Can you work around that, or?
Well, they
People can
leave
fire.
and enter and whatnot through a whole different end of the building. So,
I don't believe we'd be in their way. We would just have to make sure that if there was parking, right? I mean,
Yes.
they've had other events there before, Sean, like they have like, sometimes they do like a night where you go into the fire station and you can look at the trucks and they have a hose out. I've been to
I'm
one
not sure
before.
if not sure if they've done it in a while, but they have done it
They had,
before.
I think pre-COVID,
Yes.
they did stuff
And
like that.
pre-COVID, they used to literally rent the room out, I believe.
Yes,
they
I've
are-
been to a birthday party there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it
I
would
like that
probably,
idea.
easily hold
And then maybe if we can kind of, one hand washes the other in a sense, if they could have an open area to drop their fire trucks, that might get the kids to come. And then, you know, we attract the parents, but also have something for the family. I think that'd be a good outing.
So I agree, but our challenge would just be
The
the
parking.
recording,
and the
right?
recording, yes, that's the other
Parking.
piece.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's something we can inquire into and say, okay, we're thinking we would like to do this here. Here are what we think are the challenges, what are our ways around that?
And I think they have recorded at least one meeting there recently.
Okay.
If we're thinking of 2 sessions, we could theoretically do one session here and record it and one session elsewhere with more space. Just to try to have an area where there is more space, but also make sure we're recording it with the best possible quality. Because I have a hard time seeing the number of people we want to reach in this space.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would get cramped.
I think in 2004, we were in the gym at the elementary school for at least one of the meetings, and that was, it might have been the first meeting, and that was pretty full.
But to record there,
That's-
we do that for town meetings when we have open town meeting.
Yeah.
It takes Kevin
That's a big setup.
about 6 hours to take all of the equipment from here and
Over
move
there.
it there. And then come afterwards, bring it back and set it all up here again.
But the school here, at the cafeteria or the gym here is plugged in and much easier.
It still takes
It's
him
still,
6 hours
that's a
to set up.
6-hour mob for
Yes.
him, yeah.
Well, I think this is, if we're going to be doing this in January 24, we don't need to decide on everything tonight. So I
Yep.
think this is really good information to collect, and we'll kind of think about it on our end. And maybe we can, and Sue, maybe you can give us a little your thoughts on the venues after having some more time to think about it.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, so down to new business, which are the chapters. I admittedly, I'm a little late with my homework. I've only gotten through 1.5 of the 3 chapters this time, but I will get through them. Personally, I find the way that this is happening so much better than I envisioned what it could be like. So I just want to say thank you, because the process isn't us just sitting here going, you know, paragraph by paragraph and talking about our edits. I really find that being able to do it in the way that we are is so helpful.
Oh, good, good.
I really appreciate that, and I want to say thank you very much. I think it allows us to sort of also do it when we can, in a way, and it's less time consuming. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to say all your comments have been really helpful. Some really good information there, so we really appreciate everyone's work.
I do have a question, though, that I would like to ask here. At the top of all of these are the outstanding questions, and I'm just curious, who is answering these? Or are we supposed to be trying? Is the town? Is it just whoever knows?
Whoever knows.
Okay. All right.
If you know, write it down.
Okay. Or we can at least provide what we think, maybe?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I just was wondering about them. A lot of them, some of them sound more like a town question, but I guess if I had a thought regarding it, I could. All right. I just wanted to ask about that.
So
Today.
I think those are questions that you could ask when you interview department heads.
Yes.
Some of them.
There will be, there should be some overlap there.
Okay.
If any of them look familiar. A lot of them are things that the state requires too, so.
Okay, so there'd be ones that we'd be finding when we're looking for additional
might
questions we
be,
may want to be
yeah.
asking department heads.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
and some other ones are just more things that like I think we had one about like how many farms are there in Raymond right now? That's a really hard thing for Sam and I to figure out, but people who live here might have a better idea of active farms.
Okay. Like commercially active?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Doesn't have to be
It doesn't have to be-
commercially, just
yeah.
local as well. Even just farm stands too.
Yeah, like farm stands,
People selling eggs or
yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else to add? I know it makes this kind of short and sweet when we do the bulk of our editing and talking about things.
But you, go ahead, Frank. Were you going to say?
Or Greg?
Go ahead.
I did respond, but I don't know if it went through, because I don't know what I'm doing
Oh, okay.
when I use my computer. But I did respond to some forestry and agricultural questions.
Oh, did you? I don't know if we got it. Hold on, go to agriculture.
I'll do it again.
Hold on.
Maybe after the meeting, Greg, one of us with all our various computers in here could open
Okay.
it up and maybe show you. Would that be helpful? The other thing that
Yeah.
you can do is write them down, and then you can give them to Sue, I believe, who can also
Yeah.
do that for you.
Enter them.
Yeah, I think Peter's taken advantage of that option before. So if you're finding the technology difficult, then feel free to.
No, I went through
Submit
and
it.
I thought I submitted it, and then I went back and checked, and it wasn't there.
Wasn't there,
So I
okay.
did something wrong.
Okay. Well, I think we can troubleshoot that after the meeting. And then you can still definitely write your thoughts down and give them to Sue at any time that's convenient for you.
And if any of the committee needs the chapters printed for them, I can print them, and you can do it the old-fashioned way
Yeah.
if you prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fine too.
Okay. Yep.
So do you have a timeline for what, I mean, if chapters are going to be open for all of us to play in, a timeline for when our homework is due?
I think we'll need to check in with Sue about some of the town review that's happening of some other chapters, but I think once we figure out when we'll be done with them all, probably sometime this fall, we'll just pick a date,
Done date.
maybe October or something, for everybody to be done. And so we can start kind of talking about the connections and things like that we'll be bringing to a meeting. I think we'd like to continue kind of rolling these out, so we'll send another batch to you in August. Like I said, I think we need to coordinate with Sue a little bit on that. The other thing I would like to share with you in this format this month is that we got a draft set of maps from the person who's doing all the mapping for the comp plan. And they look really good, but I didn't get them until Monday, so I didn't have time to put them online for you. But those are also something where I'd like you all to take a look and comment on them, because sometimes there are things you know about that we don't, so.
Okay.
I don't know if Peter had commented on the transportation, the RTP that we were discussing. I think in there it says specifically that Tom Raymond didn't give any money to that organization, but we actually gave $1,000 to them in the 2022 to 2023 and then the 2023 to 2024 budget. That was in the tip. So Peter had asked me, because I'm on the Budget Finance Committee, and I don't know if he had comment in there. I had comment early, so I wasn't able to see if he made a comment about that.
Yeah, we made that correction. It just isn't. I made the correction after that comment about RTP. So.
Okay, awesome. I didn't get a chance to double check on it, so.
Yeah, I put a note in the online version that says, that basically notes that. So.
Cool.
I know in Peter's absence, he had asked Sue and I to talk about land acknowledgement, and I just realized that, so I'm trying to open that up. I don't know, Sue, if you have that in a quicker fashion.
I have this email, I think.
That's what I'm aiming for that, but of course, to connect to the Wi-Fi here, I'm just having trouble getting that
Probably I can.
in a quick fashion. Let's see.
You can use JC4's iPhone
This
if you
isn't
need
what
to.
you should just you see where
Where's-
Earth is
oh,
living.
here we go.
Here you go, Sue, if you want. I have here.
Is that the one you sent?
I think so. I think that's what agenda item.
I can go ahead and read that.
Okay, you have it.
I guess, well, first, do we have any further discussion on inventory chapters? No. Greg will get you the help that you need, but other than that, like I said, I am just so pleased. I guess in my mind, where I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to go over this as a chapter by chapter as a committee.
Reading them in the meeting.
Right, I was like, this is gonna be long meetings and it's gonna be grueling. So I just think, I'm really impressed by that. I think technology can just be such a wonderful thing sometimes. So
Yeah,
really,
I mean,
thank
we'll
you.
see. You know, there might be some things we need to bring up in a meeting if we get like conflicting comments or something. But so far, you're all giving us great additional information, and it seems to be working well. So thank you.
So I hit hot links that you had sent, Kate, for these recent chapters last week, I think it was, in an email. That's how I got to them. And is that the best way to track down a recent email and where you've sent out the notice that here are 3 more chapters with links to them? That'll go to maybe the one and only online current draft. Is that right?
Yep, those links will be the same. Like for each of those chapters, the link will stay
the same. Good.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think I want to put it on the website or anything, because
Yep.
we're not inviting public comment
Yep,
at this
that's
point.
good.
So.
Good.
Yeah, because it stays, it's a working document
Yep.
that's just remains open. Yep.
And
So that link is consistent, no matter who's, putting input into it, and it will stay open until
Oh,
our.
are you
until our
having
deadline.
problems?
No,
in
I
your
got right into it,
in
which
your
was-
email trying to figure out which email they're in?
I'm really, in the school of Greg with some of this stuff, and but
I'm glad of that.
but so I'm thinking if either we do a better job of tracking keeping our emails well organized, or if your email, here's a new batch, comes out, you can have a link to all of them.
I was just gonna suggest that.
Oh,
So
like,
that-
it's like a word,
Yeah.
like saying, here's 3 more, and then
Yeah.
having the
Here are
list of
the
the
old
ones
ones.
that were,
Absolutely.
yes, like, so
Yeah.
adding on to it each
Yep.
time. That's a great idea.
And that might improve participation.
Yes, because then we're not searching for that
Yeah.
first batch
Yep.
and the second batch and the third. Yep, I would agree. That's a great idea.
Yep, can do that.
Okay. Okay, so for land acknowledgement, Peter is out of town today, so I'm just going to read what he had asked Sue and I to talk about. So Peter says, while I mentioned during several comprehensive plan committee meetings my wish that a land acknowledgement be included in the comprehensive plan, my use of this term was not correct. What I actually wanted was that the history chapter start with the indigenous people of Raymond rather than the European settlers. And then he says, I was pleased to see that North Star Planning started the draft history chapter with the description of the first inhabitants of Raymond. That's what he wanted to just communicate. Yeah. All right, next thing is maps, which you sort of briefly.
Yes, I sent that agenda item in a sort of hoping that I would have them online ready for you for this meeting,
Okay.
but we don't. But they will go out to you soon in the same PDF online format.
Sean, have we lost you again? Or
He shrunk.
I don't know, maybe your dog's barking, I'm not
I
sure.
think that's his away face.
Yeah, away face, okay. Okay, well, moving right along. Our next meeting date is September 6th. I don't believe that I have any conflict with that, so I think if anybody largely does or we see as a collective group that may not work, otherwise I think we are fine to roll with that as our next meeting date.
Wow.
We have Sean back.
Sean, I
I'm
hope, did we lose you?
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm good with
good.
that meeting date.
Okay, all right,
I think I'll be remote, but I think I'll be available.
that's fine, okay. All right, I see no public comment.
Nope.
So then next is the comprehensive plan committee comment, and I, sorry, should have probably put this as something that we discussed, but department head interviews, so I would just like to remind, instead, I will just give a friendly reminder for anybody to, make sure that you're scheduling those. If you have any problem, let us know collectively as a group. Frank and I have the library on Friday. I'm going to reach out to, I believe finance was me, and I've talked with the assessor. We're going to plan like a walk or a lunch to go over things with him. So I know I'm working towards mine, but I have not yet to complete them. And I believe that our timeline was end of August.
Yep, and yeah, we've been getting some great responses from everyone, so thank you again for that. I hope, you're learning a little bit too while you...
I think so.
We had a good one today with John and I with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
And yeah, that was really fruitful. So now we're just typing up small scribbles that we made during our interview, and we'll get those compiled and over to North Star.
All
I
right.
think I'm the only one that didn't volunteer.
I don't believe you were here.
I don't think so.
Yes, so that's not your fault.
Yeah,
You're clear, Greg.
Yeah, you're off.
I
the
can either
hook.
tag along with someone else or.
Is there one that
some-
you would wish to tag along with that maybe hasn't been done yet? That you can think
Which
of?
ones haven't been done?
Well, so I know on my end that I haven't done finance assessor or library. Do we know if rec's been done?
Jackie met with Joe last night. I met with Sue this morning. I did get to speak with Sue and Jenny as well.
Okay. So, I know my list is here somewhere.
I know we still want to speak with Don once he gets back.
Yes, we were going to hold off on the speaking with Dawn, hopefully. Let's see, Nathan and Bruce were already done by Peter. So I think, to be honest with you, most of that's been done. I think Sean also mentioned speaking with the planning board. That was of interest to him. Do any of those that are left sound interesting to you?
I can do the planning board. He hasn't done it yet, you said?
Sean, have you done that one yet?
No, I have not. So if you would like to join me, we'll get together on that for sure.
You've heard of the planning board, Greg?
I have. Someone told me to come swear in again.
Yes, you need to be sworn at.
You know, while you two talk to the planning board, also nudge those people to take the survey and to sign up for the emails,
Yeah.
please, because they're a bit, you know, when we sort of start to make this plan official, we'll want to make sure they.
Are there email addresses attached to the survey, like an identifier?
Only if people choose to.
I was just curious if all of us have filled out the survey. Just wondering.
Today.
Well, and that does make me think of another group. I have the emails of most committee members and town employees. They
Well,
may as well get an email from me.
yes.
Yes, please, Sue.
Yes, yeah.
I hadn't thought of
Well, when you told me the original numbers, and you told me then how many, when you did the blast, how many filled it out then, and I was like, well, I know like a couple have done that, and I was doing the math like in my head as I was sitting here, and I was like, that means that all of these members haven't done it yet. I was thinking that at our last meeting. I was like, okay, so we're not even doing it yet. So I get it.
No,
But like I said, it's going to take us time to
Yeah.
kind of go, oh, wait, this group of people needs a survey. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely boards and committees, because it's also kind of people we want to make sure they know that this is going on in there, so that we don't have people coming up to us at the end of 2024 like, what is this? Who wrote this?
Yeah.
what were they thinking, yes. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But it's better to get that kind of input now,
Exactly.
for sure.
Are there any other committee member comments?
I got one, I keep getting emails from the state of Maine relative to the Climate Action Network that they've rolled out of Augusta probably a year and a half ago, I think. And there's 140 plus communities that have enrolled in it. It's mostly related to planning and funding opportunities for climate actions that range from fixing and sizing culverts to, heavier duty infrastructure needs for community facilities, backup power systems, shoreline stabilization, depending on where you are, if you're on the coast or if you're inland. So it would need I just wonder how that fits in, how it could fit into our comp plan, which is kind of what we're focused on here, rightly so, and I don't want to add another layer that will be hard to keep up with. But don't know if anyone here would be interested in trying to at least explore. There's a sign-up piece, and I don't think there's any cost, but
Yeah.
it's mostly informational, but there's a lot of resources there that would come to bear on what we're talking about here, is my sense.
Yeah, I think you're talking about, it's called the Community Resilience Partnership.
Correct.
If I highly recommend that all towns join, because they give out a ton of money, and the funding, they will fund a huge range of things. So I've worked on ones where they'll upgrade your street lights, they'll do culverts, they'll do basically anything that improves like energy efficiency or environmental quality, or also supports state climate goals. So it's a really good opportunity for funding. The way it works is that the town has to join the partnership and pass a resolution at the select board
Yeah.
to do that. It's basically, they give you a pattern resolution, so it can be as sort of personalized or not, depending on your goals, and then you have to have a public meeting where people talk about what their priorities for funding would be from this very, very big list. So there's some work on it, but it is free for you to join. And I think the grants were, I think, around $50,000 around, and you can apply multiple times a year. You can get, the one thing I will say is you get much bigger grants if you apply with other towns as a partnership, which can often be interesting if you're talking about like lakes or other things like that. Or I could even see like in places like Raymond and Casco, some of these other things like streetlights or whatever might be something that makes more sense to do regionally. So I didn't really relate that to the comprehensive plan, but yeah, it's a really good grant source that the state has been offering. So
Can you couple that public meeting with, say, another public meeting?
I think like people have done it at like
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If we found a way to sneak that into it, maybe it might not be such a hard ask of our board by saying, here, we've written up this resolution. Do you think you could read it at your next meeting? We're going to add this to our already ongoing public efforts to fulfill the requirements. Or I guess at minimum, we'd be recommending as a comprehensive plan committee that we join.
I
Would
think
that be like
a
at
great
a, that would be at a
recommendation.
minimum, we recommend
Yeah.
it. But maybe there's a way we could do some hand-holding a little bit to help to maybe do that in a sooner fashion?
Yeah, I'd be worried if were you thinking, Kayla, that it would be something we'd roll out at the comp plan info meeting?
I don't know.
I think the timeline would probably want to be in front of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
with
think-
the clock ticking into year 2 for this.
I would encourage you to do it sooner rather than later so you can apply for money. I think you should have
Casco is a member.
Okay. Yeah, I think you should have a regional coordinator who can walk you through the process.
Right.
It might be GPCOG.
Yep. Right.
So I would
Contact them.
I can double check on it, but I would reach out to GPCOG if you're interested.
Raymond isn't a member.
Do you
You're
have-
not a member.
We're not a member, so would they help us with that if we're not a member?
It's actually divided regionally, so even though you're not a member, you might still be in their region.
Possibly.
Yeah, I can see who you would be under, but there is a person who can do this for you. And in terms of the public meeting, I will say, like, it doesn't have to be a huge, giant public meeting. You have to have some kind of meeting, but
Isn't that process here just making a posting that there'll be a public hearing or public meeting,
Yeah.
45 days, whatever it is, 2 select board meetings out? That's it.
Yeah.
And it, November, whatever, October. So that would be on a fast track if we were able to do that. So yes, send along any links or extra info you might have on that, Kate.
I will.
And I'll try to lever that along. It just seems like it's so much aligned with a good amount of what we'll be doing. To miss that train would be too bad.
Yeah, you can use it for planning funds,
Yeah.
for tons of infrastructure stuff. I think it's a really great funding source.
So I'm sorry, you called that the Community Resilience
Partnership.
Partnership, thank you.
Yeah. I'll try and see who your regional person is, but.
Looking around for any other additional committee comments. And I'm seeing none. North Star, do you have any additional comments?
I don't.
Okay. I'm almost like giddy. No. I'm looking for a
One hour.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, and all in favor?
All right.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.